In terms of media attention, we had great success on social media, but mainstream media was equally as helpful to us getting our message out there and getting attention that we really wanted about our issue. So there were over 3,000 articles and news broadcasts published within that first week. All of that reached over 3.6 billion viewers. If we had paid a marketing firm to do this for us, it would have cost $3.4 million. We spent $87 on stock photography. Now, obviously doesn't include staff salary, but like I said, there were 3 members on the team. This is what we do all the time. We're communicators. We're always writing blog posts. The blog post took an hour to write, another hour to send it around and have it edited. So really low cost in terms of the amount of people that we've reached. And that's just in the first week. This has continued for almost over a year and a half now. So in addition to the blog post, we got several requests for additional zombie-themed items after that came out. Posters, we had a lot of Boy and Girl Scout groups contacting us for posters, emergency management agencies or health departments that wanted to put them up in their offices, so we created some posters, which you'll see at the last slide. We also had t-shirts that were created through our nonprofit CDC Foundation, and they were able to sell those and put the proceeds towards disaster relief, so that was great. I just got an email this morning that said they're going to stop selling them. It's been a great run. They sell out every single time, but they're going to stop selling them, so if you want one, you need to act fast because they're going out of commission. And we also created a graphic novella. There's a tile of it right down there. That's actually the likeness of our director, Dr. Ali Khan. He made an appearance. And that, again, followed this basic premise of get a kit, make a plan, be informed, that same message that we were trying to push forward, and it just works really well for a zombie scenario. We had video contests, and then most importantly, we had more partnerships come out of this, and that's both with nonprofit groups and public sector groups like The Walking Dead. We were able to do some things with them. We were also able to work with Max Brooks, who is a famous zombie author. I don't know if you guys are familiar. He wrote World War Z and the Zombie Survival Guide. He actually came to CDC, met with Dr. Khan, because he's a huge fan of public health, and we were able to do a couple things with him. And then most importantly, we were able to partner with local groups like libraries, health departments, emergency management agencies, who were able to take this idea of zombies and use it in their own communities to raise awareness about emergency preparedness and host events that brought in community members who would have no idea what a stockpile was or how to create an emergency kit. So that's been really neat to see other people be able to embrace this idea and this theme and use it in their own communities. So why did it work? Well, the first thing when we think about why it worked is, we really believe that it was because we listened to our audience. The idea for this campaign came from asking our audience, what are you preparing for? What do you want to prepare for? And we found out that actually a lot of people want to prepare for zombies, as funny as that may sound. And that goes to this idea of combined relevance, finding something that you find relevant and combining that with something that might not seem like they go together, but that your audience finds relevant, because no one is going to share a boring fact sheet. It is not relevant to them. They're going to share something that they care about, whether it's funny, emotional, whatever. You need to find what they find relevant in their lives. We obviously went with a sense of humor about ours. You don't have to, but we found that a sense of humor worked, and obviously worked very well because of our brand. CDC is known as a very straight-laced organization, so us having a sense of humor caught more headlines than maybe the Daily Show would have, obviously. And timing was actually also on our side. This was a while ago, so I don't know if you all remember, but the world was supposed to end that week. It had been predicted. And we didn't plan that, it just happened out that way, which was very beneficial for a lot of the headlines that were created. People thought that maybe CDC was jumping on the bandwagon and thinking that the world might be over. But in saying all that and showing you guys how we ran our campaign and how things sort of took shape, what can you do? And I think the most important thing is to engage your audience. Think about what is going to interest them. I'm sure pretty much everyone in the room is on social media, but just by a show of hands, who uses social media on a regular basis for their agency? Okay, yeah, pretty much everyone. If you're not, or I don't know if you're just being lazy and not raising your hand, but if you're not, I highly suggest checking out some of the different channels that you can use and getting on them. But if you are on social media, make sure that you're not just blasting stuff out and that you're having this two-way communication. That's how we came up with this campaign, is this two-way communication. And it doesn't have to be in a big grand format. We do on a regular daily basis pose questions to our followers or have trivia questions that we want them to answer. It's just this ongoing communication that you have. And find out what they're interested in. Also, identify your influencers. Being on social media isn't about having 1 million followers. It's about having the right followers who are going to be influential and who are going to share your content. If you're just blasting out to a bunch of bots on Twitter, you're not doing anything. But if you found your partners who are on there who are interested in you, the media, we follow several journalists because we want them to follow us back or just to know that we're out there and they can pick up our messages when we put them out. And find the communities that you're trying to reach, whether it's Moms Against Drunk Driving or Zombie Fanatics. Find the communities and see who the influencers are in those communities because they're going to be more powerful in sharing your message. Be innovative. Don't be afraid to take chances. This was a huge leap of faith for CDC to go along with our crazy idea, and it worked, and I think everyone else should take stock in that and realize that you can be a government agency and have fun with things and be engaging and take part in pop culture. Create content that people want to share. Like I said, people don't care about your fact sheet or your stats. They want something interesting that their friends are going to find funny that they want to put on their Facebook page or tweet out. Have a sense of humor, but be consistent in your message. So in the blog post, every time we mention zombies, we also mentioned real emergencies. Literally, every time it says real emergencies like hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, and we would link to those. So we were very consistent. And if you read the blog post, it's very clear that CDC does not think that zombies are about to take over. It's very clear that our message was really that we want you to be prepared, and if it takes us talking about zombies, that's fine. And in doing this presentation, I started thinking about, well, what have we done since the zombie post, and are we really sticking to what we preach? And I took a look at the blog posts that we've had since then. We have a mix of blog posts, both traditional, the latest disease outbreak or natural disaster. We'll talk about what CDC is doing or what our partners are doing. And then we have non-traditional posts like top 10 disaster movies or greatest disaster songs, lessons learned from The Walking Dead and what those characters could have done better to survive. And those non-traditional posts consistently got more views or more clicks than the traditional posts. And I'm not saying that you should not have traditional posts. That's the core of our blog, and that's very important. Those posts definitely outnumber the non-traditional ones. But we want to pull people in, so we do a good mix of traditional and non-traditional. So people are coming into that site and then clicking on all the other content that we have there. So after hearing all this, and hopefully you're getting ideas in your head and you're thinking about what you can do with your agencies, think about other campaigns that you like. Hopefully you like the zombie campaign, but I'm sure there's plenty others out there. And I have a few favorites. I don't know if anyone saw this on Twitter last Valentine's Day, but the Federal Reserve did some really funny Valentine's Day tweets, which, again, they're showing a sense of humor. They're not the people who you would think would be cracking puns on Twitter, but they got not just the economy nerds involved in this, they also got the attention of mainstream media, and there were several stories written about this. So the Federal Reserve was able to get their general message out there because mainstream media was calling them to do a story, so they were able to get their talking points in that way. Spot this shuttle. I'm sure you guys all have seen this in the news recently, the shuttle being flown around, shown off before it's retired. Well, NASA and the Smithsonian created this Spot the Shuttle hashtag, and it was a great engaging way to get people more excited about the shuttle. And, they're encouraging people to talk about, when did you see the shuttle? Where did you see it? Take a picture, share it with us. And it just made it more interesting and involving of everyone. I really like this one, Planned Parenthood and Vampires. This was last Halloween, I believe. I use my Twitter account mostly as a news feed. I follow a lot of news organizations just to see what's going on. And one of them had this tweet that said, thinking about having sex with a vampire, this Halloween. Planned Parenthood is here to help. I'm like, whoa, I need to read this. This looks funny. So it wasn't even that I was following Planned Parenthood. I was following a media outlet that had picked this up. Ended up clicking on it and then going on to the blog that they had written about this. Very funny. But it's a great example of how, you don't necessarily have to put the message out there or be following someone else can. So this final one, September is National Preparedness Month. So this is a very recent campaign. APHA is the American Public Health Association, one of our partners. They did this great contest where they asked followers or fans to send in pictures of their cats. And then they put these really funny little emergency, very nerdy for emergency preparedness folks, little emergency memes out there. You aren't prepared for emergencies, we're not impressed, or we're not amused. That's actually a take on another meme, if anyone has seen that, maybe. So these are just some examples that I really like of groups being engaging. These are all nonprofits or government groups, so it can be done. But you can look at your favorite brand and see what they're doing, and if they're doing something interesting that you can replicate, go for it. See how far you can push the boundaries. I know it can be hard. People might not be as eager to try new things as you are, but I encourage you to test it out and try. There's plenty of examples that you can show of other groups doing it and hopefully sway the naysayers.